Welcome, my name is Michel. I want to invite you to discover a wonderful tool we called the Invisible Hand. The Invisible Hand is the new name we gave to a very old device originally known as holdout. In a few words, it's a very special kind of pull that allows you to perform miracle effects at any moment during your act. You can do magic with balls, eggs, cards, silks, fire, and many more. It's very useful in close-up, parlor, or stage magic. 1, 2, 3. This is the result of 30 years of work and research. I hope you enjoy it.
All began in 1976, when we saw an ad in Tanin's Magic Shop catalog that offered a trick and a booklet called Jack Miller Holdout Miracles, written by Ed Mitchell. At that moment, we had no idea what a holdout was about. As soon as we received it, we fell in love with it and began to work intensely.
The wide world of holdouts in magic has a prehistory. It has its roots in the field of gambling and cheating. The first clue dated from the 19th century. You can find one of the first descriptions of a holdout in Sharps and Flat, an old book published in 1883, written by John Neville Maskelyne. There you'll find a complete chapter regarding gambling holdouts, with details and drawings of different models.
Then, in the 20th century, several books about gambling were published with descriptions of different mechanical devices, including holdouts. Without any doubt, the most famous holdout is known as Keplinger. About him, Maskelyne said, "The very finest holdout the world has ever seen is that known as Keplinger. This machine is certainly a masterpiece." Ironically, Keplinger was known as the Lucky Dutchman. With his invention, he could swindle any gambler. He didn't do any strange move. He was just sitting at the table with his hands away from him, and he always won. One night, 3 gamblers planned to discover the secret. They know that he couldn't be so lucky. So, during a play, one of them left the seat with the excuse of getting a cigar and locked the door. Then, another one gave up the game and, apparently leaving, walked behind Keplinger. Then, suddenly, Keplinger was seized, gagged, and held hard and fast. Finally, in his right sleeve, they uncovered the most ingenious holdout ever devised. They compelled Keplinger to construct one holdout for each one. For more than a year, Keplinger and his 3 unwanted partners were never detected. The Keplinger's holdout is a very clever and intricate device used to switch cards in and out of the hand. This model was made by the master mechanic Bill Gusias. The holdout is attached to the forearm and it's worn under the sleeve of the coat. A thread encased in a metal tube runs under the sleeve and up to the armpit. There, the thread runs down to the side of the body and to the inner side of the pants on the leg. A metal rod is taken in place by two straps. The end of the holdout is hooked on the rod, which lets the holdout moves back and forth on the rod. The end of the thread has a small ring. On the right leg, in the same position, there is also another strap that has attached a small hook. Under the table, during a game, the gambler pulls the ring out of the leg and attaches the ring on the hook. When the legs are pulled apart, it causes that the holdout stretch to the hand to go in and out of the sleeve, delivering the card to the gambler's hand. Jack Miller was born in Brooklyn in 1884. He was a comedian, illustrator, lecturer, teacher, performer, and a very creative mind. In 1923, he developed an original giant card routine. One of the features in Miller's act was the famous linking ring routine. He devised original moves which baffled laymen and qualified magicians alike. He was also identified with his famous egg bag routine, with a bag without any preparation. In 1932, he again startled the magic world with the invention of his utility holdout. As Jean Haggard remarked, holdout magic is the ultimate tool of conjuring. It is the nearest thing to perfection in magic ever devised.
This is an original Jack Miller holdout, one used by himself. As you can see, it's a weight with a clip, with a thread and a watch strap. This particular kind of holdout works by gravity. As you can see, this is much simple than the complex gambler's holdout or Keplinger we have seen earlier. But Jack Miller also developed one special holdout only to perform his famous egg bag routine. There he replaced the weight and the clip for a very heavy egg, the thread and the watch strap.
Contemporary to Jack Miller, but some years after his development, appeared in the market some holdouts to use in magic. In 1942, for example, in London, Will Galston published Tricks of the Masters that include a holdout for ball manipulation. At the same time, Max Andrews from Vampire sold the Cardini's third hand that was a very similar model shown in Galston's book. In the States, we could find other models that worked by gravity, like Steen and Co. and Morris' third hand.
Why do we call it the invisible hand? Because it works like a secret hand that puts in your hand or takes from it different objects in an invisible way. The invisible hand is a mechanical type of sleeving. So we need to talk a bit more about this subject to start from the beginning.
There are two kinds of sleeving, manual and mechanical, that depends on how the object enters into the sleeve. Now, the manual sleeving can be by gravity. In this sleeving, the object falls into the sleeve, or by manual impulsion. In this case, the object is thrown into the sleeve. On the other hand, you have the mechanical sleeving. We can distinguish between two groups, elastic string or reel and the thread pool. In the first group, you cannot control the power and the speed with which the object fly up the sleeve. In the second group, you can control the power and the speed. As you can see, You can vanish the object slowly or very fast. It's up to you.
The thread pool is very old. We can find the very first description in Roberto Dent's The Secrets of Stage Conjuring, with a trick he called the handkerchief, which vanishes in the hand. The thread pool is very simple. It's a thread with an object like the silk in one end and at the other end one strap. You put on the strap in your left wrist, then you have to run the silk up the left sleeve, then the back, and finally down the right sleeve. Now with the object, the silk, in your right hand, as soon as you stretch out your arms, the silk fly up the sleeve.
In this group, we can find the classic and basic thread pool, the pulley system, and the invisible hand. Many prestigious magicians, like Ellis Stanion, Max Malini, Frank Kennard, and more recently, Dick Zimmerman, have changed that old pool, adding a pulley system. In this way, the object gets into the sleeve faster and with less stretching of the arms. As we said, the invisible hand falls into the group of mechanical uncontrollable sleeving. It's a kind of thread pull system, but with a very important feature. You can retrieve the vanishing objects.
Have you seen it? Well, I don't need the cage because I don't have the canary. The invisible hand has three main pieces. A nylon thread that has in this end one weight with a clip, and the other end has a system to attach it to the wrist and to the inside of the sleeve. Let's see in detail each one of these elements. The nylon thread should be approximately 3 feet in length, but the exact length will depend on the performer's size. Later, we will see how to find out the right length. It's very important to use nylon because it's very strong and slides very well. These are two very important features for the correct using of the invisible hand. This part does the work of bringing to your hand or taking from it different objects. It's a weight that has a little ring to tie the nylon thread. The other end has attached an alligator clip to grasp different objects. We have covered this part with a piece of an elastic plastic tube, like this one, to avoid hooking the lever of the alligator clip with the edge of the sleeve. This part is used to attach the pull to the wrist and to the inside of the sleeve. It's a clip that has tied the other end of the thread, and from the same point is tied a 2 inches long elastic string that also has a safety pin.
Step by step. Description. The invisible hand has three components. First, a nylon thread which slides in the back of the performer. The other two parts of the invisible hand are tied onto this thread. Second, a weight with an alligator clip, covered with an elastic plastic tube. This part has the function of bringing or taking to the hand different objects. Third, a clip and a safety pin with an elastic thread to attach the invisible hand to the inside of the sleeve and to the wrist.
The main difference between Jack Miller holdout and the invisible hand is that the first one is installed in your body, and the invisible hand is already installed in the jacket. This feature is very important because it gives the performer a feeling of freedom. You can take off the coat at any moment in front of the audience and there's nothing exposed. With invisible hand, you put on your coat and you are ready. To install the invisible hand in the jacket, first of all you have to hook up the safety pin inside the left sleeve, in this side, not in this one, approximately 4 inches from the edge of the sleeve. It's a very good tip to, first of all, sew a piece of strong material in the right place where you hook up the safety pin. This has two uses. One is to save the lining to be torn with the intensive use. And second, when you have to withdraw the invisible hand to clean the jacket, then to install it again, you will recognize immediately the exact place where to hook up again. In this way, the clip will be hanging always here, very close the edge of the sleeve. Now, you take the weight with the clip and run it through the left sleeve. And finally, you drop it into your inner right coat pocket. It's done. Now, the only visible part of the invisible hand is the nylon thread that runs across the back. We have solved this problem. Open the seam, two seams that are to the side of the opening of the sleeve. One seam is here, the other seam is here. You don't have to cut, you only open the seam. You can see here my finger getting into here and here. So now you install the invisible hand as we have seen at the beginning, but now you will run the weight into the slits, the opening of the seams, and finally again drop it into the inner right coat pocket. So now the nylon thread through the back runs in between the lining and the coat cloth. You can show the jacket and there's nothing exposed.
Step by step. Setting. To install the invisible hand in your coat, you must follow 3 very simple steps. First, take the safety pin and hook it to the inside of the sleeve in the piece of strong material you have sewed previously. Second, take the weight with the clip, run it through the left sleeve and then through the opening of the seams. Third, drop the weight with the clip inside the inner coat pocket.
It's very important to understand that there are three positions: turn off, stand by, and turn on. When you put on your coat, the invisible hand is in a turn off position. Now, you take the clip from the left sleeve with your right hand and you hook it up in your watch strap. Now, the invisible hand is in a standby position. It's close to work, but not working yet. Now you take the weight with your left hand from the inner right coat pocket and drop it into your right sleeve. Now the invisible hand is in a turn-on position. Now in reverse, if you take the weight from the sleeve with your left hand and drop it into your inner right coat pocket, the invisible hand is in a standby position. And now if you unhook the clip from the watch strap, the invisible hand is in a turn-off position and you can take off the coat and there's nothing exposed.
Step by step, 3 positions. When using the invisible hand, it's possible to recognize 3 positions. Turn-off position. It is when you wear the coat, but you haven't hooked the clip in your watch strap yet, and the weight is not hanging in the sleeve. Stand-by position. It's when you have the clip hooked in the watch strap. The invisible hand is almost ready to be used. Turn on. It's when you have the clip hooked in the watch strap and the weight is dropped into the sleeve.
Once you are in a turn-on position, remember, with the clip hooked up in the watch strap and the weight hanging in the right sleeve, it's very important to check the correct length of the nylon thread. Standing up with the arms to the side of the body, the weight should be hanging at the elbow high. Now it's a question of trial and error. If the weight is too low, it will be very easy for you to receive the weight in the right fingers with a small move of the right hand. But it can accidentally drop out into view in a moment you don't want. On the other hand, if the weight is too high, you will have to do a very strange move with your left hand to receive the weight in the right fingers. So you have to test by yourself the right length. But remember, it should be approximately at the elbow high. The working of the invisible hand is very simple. Raising your left hand to the breast pocket, the weight will descend through the right sleeve until it reaches the right fingers. The left elbow must be kept bent to the back, close to the body. It's also very important to bring the shoulders a little bit to the back. These movements of the shoulders cut down the length and allow the weight to descend further down. Here it's very important to mention that the right hand must be kept absolutely motionless. Don't fumble or try to catch the weight. it will descend to the fingers, to the right fingers, by the action of the left hand. Let the invisible hand follows the orders that gives the left hand. If you adjust correctly the length of the thread, you'll not have any problem. Now, once you have the weight with the clip, it's very easy to push the lever with the thumb and clip different objects. Now, reversing the move, dropping the left hand to the side of the body, the weight will fly up the sleeve carrying the object.
Step by step. The basic move. The invisible hand works very easily. It's a basic mechanical principle. As you see, you must only raise your left hand to the breast pocket to make the weight descend through the sleeve until your right hand. You raise your left hand and the weight with the clip descends to your right fingers.
Basically, there are two types of movements, ascending and descending moves. We call descending moves the natural actions made by the left hand that allow the weight to descend through the right sleeve until it reaches the right fingers. They should be natural actions and very important, with a reason.
Here you have some examples. Outside the breast pocket. When you raise your left hand to take something from the external breast coat pocket, the weight will descend to the right hand. Instead of using the external breast pocket, you can use the left shoulder to rest a rope or silks. You can also obtain the same results, placing a pencil on your left ear or cigarette into your lips. Rubbing. In this case, the left hand takes an object, for example a coin, and rubs on the left coat lapel to clean it. Naturally, the weight will descend through the right sleeve to reach the right hand. Opening the coat. Keep your right hand to the side of the body. While the left hand grasps the left lapel to open the coat to show it empty, the weight will descend to the right fingers. Detail. Another interesting action is to take the object with the left hand, examining it near your eyes. For example, to read the year of a coin. When you bring the coin to your eyes, the weight will descend to the right fingers.
We call ascending moves the natural actions made by the left hand that allow the weight to fly up the sleeve.
Magic passes or magical gesture. When you do a magical gesture with your left hand, stretching the arm, keeping the right hand absolutely motionless, the weight with the clipped object will fly up the sleeve. Take the wand. While you have an object clipped with the invisible hand in the right hand, your left hand goes to the table to take a wand. The weight will fly up the sleeve. Show the hands empty. While you have an object clipped with the invisible hand in the right hand, you stretch your left arm and open the hand to show it empty. At the same time, the weight will fly up the sleeve. In this case, it's very useful to do a symmetrical movement, pretending to place the vanished object in the left hand, immediately stretching the right palm, showing it empty. Accessories. The clip of the invisible hand can be used not only to attach different objects and make them disappear, but also in a number of accessories that increase the possibilities. Some of these accessories will be used for specific purposes, but others will be used for more than one use. To attach the accessory to the alligator clip in a safe mode and to make it easy to exchange, you must add to the gimmick a little metal, plastic or leather tongue. Let's see some very useful accessories. Cigarette holder. This is the classic gimmick used to vanish a lit cigarette, but with a little tang added in its base. With it, you can vanish and recover not only cigarettes, but also pens, pencils and bills. Bowl holder. This is another classic gimmick, the bowl holder. With it, you can vanish and recover a bowl and many other elements such as eggs, ropes and silks. Silk pool. From a classic décolleté pool, you must remove the elastic thread and add a leather tongue in its place. Using the universal pool of Vernay, you increase enormously the possibilities. You will be able to vanish and recover silks, pens, spoons, bills, watches, and many more objects. Paper clamps. Adding a little leather tongue to a common paper clamp, you will be able to vanish, switch, or add cards, papers, billets, and bills. Dual control. This is the wonderful dual control system of G.W. Hunter. Basically, it's a loop of a thin nylon thread attached to an elastic cord. To adapt it to the invisible hand, you must release the elastic and add a leather tongue in its place. Now, you can make a rising card effect, cling to your hand almost any object, and many other powerful effects. Magnet. Maybe the most versatile accessory you can add to the invisible hand, it's a magnet. It's a good idea to put the magnet in between two small paddle-shaped pieces of leather. In this way, you can attach it to the alligator clip, and the objects will be attracted to it without making much noise. With the magnet, you have endless possibilities. Mirage gimmick. This gimmick is based on an Eddie Joseph idea. It's a small card or plastic tongue of about 4 centimeters long. in an extreme, has a little ball of blue tack in both sides, and in the other extreme has glued a piece of leather to attach the alligator clip. It's useful to attach more than one flat object, such as 2 coins, without making any noise. It's also very useful to switch objects, of course. You can also attach cards, credit cards, bills, and many other things. We have seen the basic principles of the invisible hand. Now we are ready to see the real working, the miracles that this wonderful tool can do. Open your eyes and enjoy it. The curtain is rising and the show is ready to start. Enjoy it.
I want to tell you something. When I discovered for the first time a magic shop, I was a child. I was walking the street and I stopped in front of a glass window of that wonderful shop. And I could see inside the shop the magician that showed the tricks for the audience. He showed the hands empty, he showed the coat, but I remember very well he had the green silk in the pocket. He began to put it into his fist. He did this. I don't know how, but the silk gone. So, thank you. I went into the shop and I wait, and that man told me, what do you want? Please, can you show me the green silk trick? He told me, of course, this is my best trick. He showed the hands, he showed the coat, but in this pocket, I remember very well, he had the green silk. He showed it both sides. He showed the hands empty. He stood up in this way. He took the green silk and began to put it into his fist. All the silk. He did this. I don't know how, but the silk gone again. So I begged to him, please, can you explain me the secret? He told me, look, this is a shop you have to pay. How much? $10. That was all my money. So I pay him. The secret was very simple. Was not in the hand, nor in the coat. It was in the pocket, because in this pocket, he told me you have to put the green silk. But I will explain how to banish it. Please, first, show it both sides. Remember to show the hands empty. You stand up very well. You take the silk and you put it all into the fist. You can do this, it doesn't matter. Now the important move. And the silk gone again. So, I went home. I gathered all my friends like you now. I put on a jacket of my father, a hat from my grandfather, and like the shaman told me, show the green silk, but instead of vanish, it turned into a cane. For the silk story, you need 2 silks, same size, same color. One of them tied to one appearing cane. You fold the silk and put it together with the cane into the right pant pocket. The other one, you fold it and put it into your outside breast pocket. And finally, and the most important, this is a silk pull, one Vernet universal pull, with a tongue to attach it to the alligator clip of the invisible hand. This into the right sleeve. That's all. Now, you begin talking, show the hands empty, you drop your right hand and tell the story of the silk. You go with your left hand to the breast pocket to take out the silk. In the same moment you arrive here, the silk pull will arrive to the right fingers. In this moment, In the moment you go with your left to the breast pocket, the pull comes to the right fingers, and you take it with the fingers. One more time. Show the hands, drop, take. Now the pull is in the right fingers. Now you put the silk into the pull. Once you finished, you will do a magical gesture with your left hand. You stretch out the arm to do the gesture. At the same time you stretch out your arm, keeping this hand absolutely motionless, the pull will fly up the sleeve. Look, I will show you one more time. You finish, and now you stretch the arm. Now you have to repeat these movements 3 times. But first of all, you have to recover this pull from this pocket. How do you do this? You show the hands, drop the arms, and go with the left hand as to take it from this pocket. You lift the jacket. In the moment you lift the jacket, the pull with the silk will arrive to your right fingers. Look at it from the back. When I go here and lift the jacket, here arrive the pull. Once you have the pull here, you remember, oh no, in this pocket, and you go with your right hand with the pull in the fingers into the right pants pocket. Imagine you can see my hand into the pocket. There, you pinch, you take a little bit of the silk with your thumb and first finger. Then you drop your left hand, and at that moment, the pull will fly up the sleeve, leaving the silk, the free silk, in the pocket. Now, you take it off and you show it absolutely free. Now you repeat the move one more time. So, you show the silk, and now you will place it, rest it on the left shoulder. Show the hands, drop. When you go with your left hand to take the silk, again, the pull will arrive to your right fingers. Look, in that moment, you can see it from the back. When I go for the silk, it arrives to your fingers and you take it. Now, you cannot stretch too much the arms. Again, second time, you put it into your fist. You are putting it into the silk pull. And again, when you do the magical gesture, fly up the sleeve. And you repeat it two more times. The last time, show the hands empty, you go to the pocket without the pull, because the last time you will take a pairing cane, show the silk, and now instead of vanish, it turns into a K.